It is the ultimate playground debate. If you put the biggest heroes in anime history into a single arena, Goku, Naruto, Luffy, who actually walks away? In 2005, Nintendo authorized a project to find out. They greenlit a crossover fighting game featuring 150 characters pulled from 27 entirely different universes. Super Smash Bros. Works because Nintendo's core lineup shares a unified design language. In this project, the developers had to reconcile a chaotic clash of vastly different art styles and completely incompatible power scales. You have to figure out how to balance a world-destroying martial artist like Goku against a brilliant but physically ordinary high schooler like Light Yagami from Death Note. Drop those characters into a standard health bar brawl, and the logic of their worlds immediately collapses. A traditional fighting game structure was doomed from the start. The developers abandoned the idea of building a traditional fighting game engine. Instead, they built a game that uses the physical layout of a manga as the controller. Nintendo's development team skipped the established fighting game giants. Instead, they sought out Ganbarion, a studio so obsessed with the source material that they could recount specific manga scenes from decades prior from memory. The team realized that solving the ultimate crossover problem required changing the way players physically interact with their heroes. Look at this wireframe of the Nintendo DS. The top screen handles the physical brawl, but the bottom screen is a 4x5 grid. You arrange blocks of different shapes and sizes so they snap together, building a customized comic page. In the game, these are komas. A single one-square koma doesn't fight. It's a help item sitting quietly in the background, applying passive stat boosts. Step up to a 2 or 3 square panel and you get a support character. Tap them and they jump into the arena for a quick attack before vanishing. The massive 4 to 7 square blocks are your battle characters. They consume huge amounts of space, but give you direct, continuous control over the heavy hitters. This spatial economy creates a constant trade-off. If a heavy hitter eats up half of your available grid, you're forced to weaken your overall utility, meaning balance is found in the way players manage their limited geometric budget. Ganbarion secured this massive contract because they brought an encyclopedic knowledge of Weekly Shonen Jump magazine to their initial pitch meeting. They needed that deep knowledge. The studio was tasked with building an entirely new fighting engine and a massive adventure mode in under a year. The developers were so dialed into the weekly publication cycle that they were actively predicting where ongoing manga storylines were heading months in advance. Programmers intentionally left empty spaces in the game's code. When a character debuted a new special move in the physical magazine, Ganbarion injected it into the game just in time to match the newsstands. That intense dedication elevated the project. The game operated as a living, breathing extension of the weekly magazine itself. Jump Superstars was a massive domestic hit. It moved 500,000 copies and dominated the Japanese hardware market in 2005. But Western players were locked out. The localization rights were a legal nightmare, with entirely different Western companies holding the competing licenses to properties like Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto. The mechanics of the deck-building system were so intoxicating that players imported the game anyway, fully prepared to hit a massive language barrier. Entire communities sprang up on early internet forums. Players with zero Japanese fluency collaborated to decode menus, puzzle out optimal grid loadouts, and translate the carefully worded clues required to unlock new characters. Eventually, modders cracked the ROM files. They built complex translation patches just so the community could read the individual comic panels and fully optimize their pages. Jump Superstars works because it doesn't just treat these characters like digital puppets. It treats the manga panel as a functional piece of the hardware, allowing players to mechanically manipulate the very medium these heroes were born in.